Today, after reading comments that President Trump said on Resurrection Sunday, I no longer can support him. I agree with some of his policies. I agree with the war in Iran, um, but his language and talking about destroying and demolishing, I can't support that. We are a country of a free world. We are supposed to have freedom of religion, freedom of choice, and we are supposed to have rights that so many of these other countries do not have. I may not agree with pro-choice. I might not agree with same-sex marriage, but in our country, you have that choice. And I do believe we fell away from biblical principles. But we can't have a leader of our country using the type of language he had towards other people. No, I don't believe he's racist by no means. Um, I followed him for many years. I believe he needs to work on his language and how he talks to people. I don't know who I'm going to support in the next um, presidential election. I know J.D. Vance has not used that type of language, and he's kind of kept his distance from the president lately. So we'll see who's going to run. President George Bush said he wants to reform the Republican Party, and let's see who he gets to run for president, and go from there. You know, um, we have to have a country where our president is above reproach. And I see that he's got some areas in his life he needs to work on, just like we all do. And I'm not going to say he's not a Christian. Nobody else can say he's not a Christian because that's between him and God. Because even Christians make mistakes and sin. Um, Once you accept Christ and you ask for forgiveness, that's your key to heaven. So I would like to see what happens the next 2 years. I don't think he should be impeached by no means. He was elected fairly. Um, but I want to see who's going to run in 2 years and go from there. Again, folks, I can't support a president as long as he uses that type of language towards other countries. Like I said, I do agree with some of his policies, not all, but some. And I don't know one Democrat that doesn't agree with at least one or two of his policies. Everyone I talked to found something that they agreed on. And I agree with with Fetterman or whatever's the Democratic congressman, I think he's from Michigan, that said anybody that bashes the president is bashing the country. I kind of agree with that. So we don't need to sit here and bash each other, but we need to make our country stronger than what it is. Okay, everybody, have yourself a great day.